you can add bird form animations to some unit of your choice. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a Paladin, and we're going to make this Paladin go bird form. Let's do it. We're going to import from a unit. Let's go with Medivh. Alright, import from Medivh. Now, to help us with knowing what we're doing, we're going to also fetch Medivh and open it in a separate tab so that I can look through Medivh and the data here. So we can definitely see Medivh has 3 geosets. The guy, which we won't want, and then 2 and 3 down here. That would be the actual bird. So now let's actually use that information. We go here, we have our Paladin 3 geosets, our Medivh 3 geosets. Definitely we want the bird mesh, so we'll take 2 and 3. As far as all of these go, we are going to want to leave most of these and import all the alternate animations, but we don't want the non-alternate animations. And then we'll have to do something cool with morph. So, morph is looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and import morph and morph alternate sort of as is for the time being. Here we have the bones. This part's really interesting. Looks like all this stuff, I'm looking at these little red icons here, right? Everything from this beginning to right here is Medivh, so we don't want that. Now everything from here downward is the bird, so we don't want to touch that. We want to leave it be. It's already set by default to import, so we'll be bringing in the bird animation nodes with their animation, which will be linked to these animations over here. And that should be pretty good. Other than that, then when we get into the helpers here, just for the benefit of the morph animation, if we click import motion to pre-existing on the legs and arms and foot of Medivh the human, I believe it should make the Paladin animate similar to Medivh the human at the starting half of morph, and then when he flips into the bird, we'll see the bird from that point on. All these bird bones are just called bone. We could just leave all those. They should be good. Right here we see the links, so the bird is still linked to its incoming bones that we'll be importing, so that should be fine. That's true for both components of the bird. And then we have here a list of objects. I think obviously all the normal ones here we won't want. Might as well go ahead and import these alternate attachments in case you have like a weapon. You know, maybe if our Paladin picks up an orb of fire, we're going to want that to orbit the bird's head correctly. So we'll want this weapon alternate ref on the bird. Here we have these different animations. I think super spray is typically the death of the bird when it shoots out some bones, so we do want that for death of the bird. This blizzard particle, I think is maybe particle effects on the morphing. So let's keep all the particles and ribbons. These footprints, we do not want footprints because those are going to be the Medivh human. I don't know these sounds off the top of my head, although I believe Magos' editor should actually let us browse the sounds if I recall. If we go to node, one of these, yeah, so theoretically we could find death through to the Talon. Yeah, okay, so probably only want the morphed death sound, death, QRST, DDTA. Yeah, so we do want DDTA because that's the death alternate. And then sound AD is probably abilities druid. It's probably morph and alternate sounds. So I'm guessing we want all the sounds except the Medivh death sound as a human. That's my guess. We'll confirm here. ADTM and ADTA. Yeah, it's the druid of the Talon morph and morph alternate sounds, so the sound of him morphing. So I'd say we might as well go ahead and keep that. So all 3 of these sounds are good, but let's take out that sound. We probably don't need the collision spheres, as the Paladin probably already has those. Cool, now we have the Paladin geosets. We want to say in anything that we're importing, by default, the Paladin would be not visible. However, if you recall, Medivh's body, the human, is geoset 1. So if you want to be really fancy, you can take these Paladin geosets here, and all of them are just standard Paladin mesh, so you should be good to set all of them at once by shift-clicking here. And we can set all of them to use geoset 1 from Medivh, which means that in the morph animations, you'll see the Paladin as a man, and then he'll quickly morph into a bird and disappear. The bird here, we're going to say not visible, that there are no Paladin original animations that we would want to see a bird in, so we're going to put not visible on those two. Down here with these alternate nodes, it's going to be the same, they're going to be not visible. In terms of the Paladin particle ribbon effects, we're going to say they're not visible in Medivh's animations. Most of these, I think typically Origin and Overhead you don't want to mess with, but all the rest of these, let's say that they're going to be visible with Geoset 1. So, for example, Weapon Ref will disappear right as Weapon Alternate appears in that animation. That should be good. All these sort of spell effects, Super Spray, I guess Super Spray is the death animation, the bird bones, and the particle and the ribbons down there. Let's set all of those not visible as a Paladin. So at this point, we click Finish, and we should have more or less a Paladin who morphs into a bird. It's always good to check with Magos to view the animation. So let's call this Paladin, Paladin of the Talon. That sounds pretty funny. Alright, Paladin of the Talon. That's a good name. I'm just going to go into Magos' model editor. I'm going to go to my Warcraft models folder. Cool. And we're going to see Paladin of the Talon right here. Alright, now let's check this out. Let's see how our animation's imported and did everything work. Certainly looks like the Paladin is still a Paladin. He also has Death Alternate. So he's clearly got the bird animations. There you go. He even got, see, we got that particle effect on the Death. That was good. Looks like it was different than I thought. Alright, so the morphing of the Paladin is a little weird. It didn't pull all the animation in quite how I intended. So you can see his book there is looking a little silly. It's probably the same with Morph Alternate. Yeah, the Morph Alternate is looking a little odd there. Yeah. Just different animations, bird animations, all look intact. And so for the most part, I think we've created our Paladin of the Talon here. But we probably also want to fix that morph animation. So I would say let's go back to the Paladin. We're going to import from unit Paladin. So I'm taking Paladin of the Talon, our custom character, and I'm going to bring in data from the original Paladin. Now I don't want any geometry here. I'm hitting leave in Geosets. But what I want to try to do is tweak the animations by bringing in actual Paladin unit animations. So what we're going to do is we're going to do to morph and morph alternate. We're going to bring in stand so that the Paladin kind of has a flashy look. And actually, you know what? Let's go with spell. So it's sort of like the Paladin's casting a spell, but that'll be in his morph. Then what we're going to do here, I think, is we just leave most of these except where's like book. We want the book bone. Here's book right. So import book motion to pre-existing. So we'll link the book. So we're bringing in the book data, and then honestly, I think his legs really need it. So we're going to hit like upper leg, lower leg, foot, and sure, book main, whatever that might be. Just in case. So all of these, I'm doing import motion to pre-existing. So I'm bringing the Paladin's legs during his spell animation into the morph animation of the model that we created custom. We don't want any of these special nodes here, and the visibility of that animation is already set, so we're not going to change the visibility. Cool, so now I click Finish. Now I have my Paladin the Talon morph. It's a little bit better. It's a little bit better, but actually the book looks really bad, and it should have been the stand book. So, you know what I'm kind of thinking? Alright, Morph Alternate sort of looks okay, but his cape needs to be fixed. And that book is crazy. So the cape in the book, let's import from unit Paladin. Cool, we're going to leave all the animations and stuff. And let's get, where's that cape? Cape bottom, cape mid, cape top. Cool. Alright, and the book. Because I was wrong about the book before. I think it shouldn't use spell animation. It moved too much. Import book main. Sorry, I clicked wrong there. Book right. Import. Cool, and we're just going to use his generic stand animation for that one. So the cape in the book should be more or less in conjunction with stand. That ought to do it. Everything's not imported except animation. Cool. I think we might have a good Paladin of the Talon now. Talon 3. Cool. So stand morph. He's got alright, the book looks good. The book looks good. The cape, still a little weird the way he folds it down, but seems pretty good to me. Seems pretty good to me. I think let's try it in game.
As you wish, for my people, for honor.